if I create an array or string or a number, we are typically generating a object with some methods and properties in them. And everything is in JavaScript is an object, and it is definitely child of an object instance. It's definitely an instance of object. So everything in JavaScript is an object. In JavaScript, they typically did this. New object, array, they added all the methods of the array and that became array. So there's a new, the primitive data types like string, number or Boolean, everything in Java, there is a new way of, there is a different way of generating these things. Let me log this console.string. Okay, see, you get it. Now this, I created this. So let me create another string, second string. See, is second string and first string. So don't get confused. This is a new way of creating a string. Earlier we have seen new object, creating new object. Now I'm creating new string. Why I'm creating? To give you that, the understanding that everything in JavaScript is an object. So this is another way of creating a string. This is another way of creating a string. So both are valid, both are strings. What do this statement generate? Is simply a second string. Okay. Actually, I have some white color here. I have to erase it. Yeah. So I erased it. Okay. This statement is also generating a string. This statement is also generating a string. So the value that they generate they're looking different. But when I compare these strings, what is it returning? Why it is? Actually, these two things are different now. So let me keep. See, first string. The value is same. The value is same. When I compare these two things, they are equal. This and this are equal, because if you generate this way or this way, the value, the primitive value that is being generated out of these two things, same, because this is also giving me an object. Okay, I can say second toString, to lowercase, and I can my string dot to lowercase. In both the cases, there is no error. Okay, if you generate this way or if you generate this way, both are same. But if you compare deeply along with the clarity, then it is false. Why this case is false? The value is true when you compare two objects with just for the value. Okay, just for the value, it is true. Triple is equals to is something that check for the value comparison, also check for the types. Okay, so when I check types, that is false, because this is an object constructor, this is a primitive value. Okay, but both the cases, you will do the same thing, and both the cases will generate same value. With both the things, with both the ways of declaring, you can do every operation that you are supposed to do and perform on a string. So remember, why I'm actually explaining this right now, to give you that understanding everything is an object. So what they did, okay, they did where string is equals to new object. Okay, they put something like this, like toString. Okay, and they created a function there, and they return some value. So this function will actually against this dot. Otherwise, this is a local scope. This dot string dot, they do some blah 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 operation, then they return. So when I say string dot to, this is actually, let me give you, maybe this is confusing for you. So what is the syntax to create an object, guys? Where or let or const, we can say anything that we want. My obj is equals to, this is the way we will create an object. We know this, okay? And if we say first name, that is a key, and this is a value, Ganesh. You put a comma, you generate last, okay? You put it like this. Just a second. Okay, so this is an object now. So if I log this object, what do I get? What do I get? This. But if you see, what if you ever wonder what is this object? I only put Ganesh and Pilli. But what is this? This is some of the default things that you can do with an object. Okay. Some of the default things you get another. So if this, with this you will get, is it enumerable? What is the local string of the object? You know, if you wanted to convert that to a string, you can convert. So this is an instance of object. True. Now let me do that same thing with a string. This is, we just seen console.log. My str, I don't want to use any reserved keyword there. See, everything from, so this is, has a prototype relation to a parent, but this has some extra properties. This is my object. This is a plain object. I don't have any extra properties here, but this is a string object. Okay, this has some extra properties and methods. Okay, but if I dot underscore underscore, this is a way to access, access this object in console. Okay, see, this is an object that they created. If you see, it is the same thing that you see. You can compare these two things. So string is also an object. String is also an object with some properties and method. If you could see the same thing. So let me add a function here. Maybe my fun function. Same thing. If you see, look at the anchor, look at my fun. It's the same thing. The string object that that JavaScript has created and my object that you created is typically looking the same. But in this, I only have 3 properties. In this, JavaScript has inserted many more properties. That's the only difference. This is the same. So if string is also have another prototype, that is called what? Object. So if I go into deep to that relationship, this is again. So let me go to my constructor. They are same. See, the parent to my object is just an object. The parent to my string is a string object. The parent to the string object is simply object. When we go levels deep, down below, very base of it, it is same object for these two things. Any questions here? Like, I just wanted to stop here. Any questions? Anything that you don't understand or anything that you are trying to figure out still? Let me know.
Yeah, I have some doubt.
Yeah.
In my string, we just gave
I lost you, Kranti.
new string.
I lost you. Like, you are breaking.
Hello.
Yeah, Kranti.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
In my string variable, we inserted a string.
Yeah,
plus.
Yes, this.
How can we insert a property and its value, key and value, like that?
So string constructor, see, we see a concept called constructor here. See, both of these things. So what is a constructor? Constructor means, to build that object. So my intention is to create a string object. So there should be something constructing that object, right? For the first time, whenever we are creating, that will only accept a string. Okay. Whatever you send, if you send an object, if you send a boolean, if you send a number, whatever you do, it will simply convert it to a string. If you send this much big long object, it will simply create a string with that object syntax. Like if you remember, if we log a string, what happens, an array, what happens? All the values comma separated, but it is still written a string. You remember? In the console, you'll only see a string.
Yeah.
Okay. So the same thing happens. Whatever you give, it will convert to string and put it in a string format in characters. If you pass in an object, it will say object. See, if you remember, when you try to print something, print an object in JavaScript, you will see an object. That's it. Nothing inside. Do you ever come across that scenario? So if you send an object to string, it will simply say it is an object. That's it. String character. So it is designed to only generate a string. So whatever you give, it will just either give an error, or if you send it like this, it will still give an error. It will not accept. It will only accept a string, in quotations. It asks you to send something in quotation. Inside quotation, if you put an object or values or anything, it doesn't matter. It's simply a set of characters. It's not even though it is looking like an object, it is inside the quotes. Outside the quote, maybe this may be treated as an object, but if you put quotes, it is simply a string. You wanted to print something, something that look like an object. So each and every object accepts certain properties. Okay, you can design your property. You can say, something like this. So let me give you an example. Okay, I'm saying this should accept a number. Okay, num. Okay, I can say if maybe string str. I'm actually accepting strings. If str type of str, sorry, type of str not equal to string, I say throw new error. send in a string, nothing else. So I created a method in my object. I created a method. Now when I say my object dot my fun, see, I'm constructing my own object. Okay. Now I'm sending a number. What it is saying? Send in a string, nothing else. So this error is coming from my object. So I can, so instead of, if the objects in JavaScript is not enough for you, you can create your own objects that work like a string. That's what I'm trying to teach today. Okay. If a string is not enough for you, an array is not enough for you, you can create an object of your own to perform a certain things. See, I can even generate errors. So I'm constructing a set of, I'm creating my own object. Okay. I'm accepting my own parameters. So if I send a string, no error. The moment I send a number, it sends me send in a string. So I'm actually throwing a new error. So this is how you can also throw an error in console. Okay, this is how you can throw an error in console. So if I'm sending other than anything other than string, it is giving me an error. Is your doubt clear, Kranti? Like you can only do a constructor, it accepts certain type. If you send anything other than that, it's going to give you an error.
Yeah, I'm clear. No.
Yeah. Any more doubts on this? So anybody wants me to go through once again? Like you don't want to understand, you want to understand a bit better, I can go again. But this is a base that you need to understand. Okay, the concept this is prototypal inheritance. Okay, underneath everything is an object, generating an object out of object, and again create an object with that. So there's no stopping here. So let me give you a real-time analogy for that. Okay, we are humans. Okay, in this world there are two types of objects. Okay, inorganic and organic. You remember? Only two kinds of object. So I just want you to guys to come on, unmute yourself and follow me along. Okay, in this world you see two things, living and not living, right?
Yeah.
Either the objects have life or object doesn't have life, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah. So objects that are having life, okay, the life object, they said simply, let me give you an object set. Okay, like this, clear. I'm clearing it, console is cleared. Where let me take a life object scenario. Okay, let life is equals to new object. Object is a base. So understand, an object is a base. That means that is a formula. Maybe understand. Just understand this as an how do I say, Adam of apple. Okay, this is that apple that we refer a lot. Okay, so this is that. So I just said use this object and create life. Okay, what is inside life? Nothing. No, this shouldn't be the case. Okay, I should have a life with living there. So what do I need? I should put life dot life dot life is equals to show. Now when I clear it, let me clear everything. Now I have life object. Isn't it true? Now I have life object. Okay, life is not enough. I need use that same life and generate trees and animals. Okay, So I said new let tree is equals to new life. I'm sorry, new is this. What happened? Life is not a constructor. So you need to actually create it like a constructor. Okay. How do I create it like a constructor? I just wanted to go out of traditional way and demonstrate something. So I created new life. Okay, this guy has no constructor. Okay, so that means I cannot generate a class. So what I'm trying to say is from this I created life. From life I just wanted to create tree and animals. So let me do this. Let life is equals to okay, let tree is equals to new life. Perfect. Okay, with the function object I can create that. I can demonstrate that. Now I have tree object. Okay, tree object is simply an instance of life object. Now I can get animal. Animal also should be living. Okay, now animal is also created. What does animals have? Mammals, reptiles, and what is the other type? Let
Reptile.
new animal. I should use animal class, new animal. Okay, it's okay. Animal is not a constructor because animal is instance of, so sometime the prototype constructor breaks. Okay, so this is how God also constructed the entire world. So if you look deeper, humans have two hands, two legs. Animals have different thing, but they are all part of same object called life. If you just come down to to a level, okay, you will see the difference. But they have organs, they have life, they have a certain expectancy of life. So, but if you see underneath, everything is one sole object. Okay, non-living things are, you know, to be here to an extent, unless they don't have something to move, or they cannot move themselves on themselves. So they have to get some force somewhere. So that's their property. They have to wait for some other force. Just a second. So they are waiting for some force to do it, but living things can move. Okay, that's their property, that's their method. Okay, properties are different. So like that, you have to construct your application also. Okay, for the same reason they have given you a concept called object. Just a moment. Okay, I don't want you guys to confuse anymore. I want to stop here. Okay, I want to feel confident that you understood this concept, that we have to build a there is a base class in object called object in JavaScript. Everything that you want to create anything in JavaScript, we want to. So I'm not saying that in the morning, if you're starting a project, don't say new object or something. So that if you're programming something, always design your core logic in objects. So remember this, you need to create an object. So an example, maybe if you're an example that you're building a student's database. Okay, student object. Okay, student object dot create new student, student object dot add new student, student object dot edit student. So like that, you create one object, you had all the properties like array. Array has some methods like array dot push, do some operation, array dot pop, do some operation. And if you are designing your objects, if you are creating your application, you should also be able to do that same kind of, you should also be able to do the same operation. That's where I'm coming from. So if so this is gonna help you to understand different kinds of frameworks out there. This is not, if I'm teaching you this, if you're learning this, if you're practicing this, you're not going to use plain JavaScript objects anywhere in the world. Any case, you're not going to use it in real-time projects, because I'm teaching you this so that you can understand what is a framework is. If you're supposed to use some other framework, and if you run into some issues, so you don't have to have a blank face. You can read through that error. You should be able to read through that error, because the purpose of this session is to, you own a car, you drive a car, you're using a car, but if you never open the hood of the car and see what's inside the car, you always have to depend on somebody for help you need. So if your car broke, your car stopped for petrol, even if there is no fuel, if you can't understand your car, you look for a help from outside, right? So that's what I wanted to avoid. So I don't want you guys to look for help each time you want. You should understand your errors. You should understand your, code. You should know everything about. So you should know your engine, your everything, and you should figure out what is the problem with your code. And then you quickly go to the perfect spot where is the error, and you will fix that, and you will be a master. So that is the goal of this session. Okay, so we are close to an hour. So we'll take a quick break for 10 minutes and we will connect, try to digest this, what I said. And if you have any questions during the break or after the break, just post me. So we'll meet in another 8 minutes or so, 5 to 8 minutes. Is that okay? Karthik, you can have your breakfast in this break.
Okay, bro.
I know you're waiting for a break, coffee or breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay, let's meet in 5 minutes. Let me set a timer. Okay, this time I give Karthik to eat his breakfast. So let me, okay, start the countdown. Chalo guys, we'll meet in 8 minutes. What is here? Okay. So since we understood, the concept of objects, and let's try to create some objects. Okay, let's try to do an object-oriented programming. So you can create objects in JavaScript with objects. Okay, you tried that. Okay, new object, you said new object, and you send in some information and you created objects. And so there is a better way of doing it. Okay, so you can do this, but let my object obj is equals to new object. Okay, what is this object is expecting? A value, anything, a value. Okay, maybe key parameter value, key value, because objects are nothing but key value pairs. So I have my object. Okay, if I log my object, I'm getting key value. Whatever I keep inside is actually accessible. So I want to store data. And we have seen a case where with array references, it's always positions. If a position changes, we are in a big problem, and we just want the objects to kind of, take the key with key value pairs. Everything makes a lot of sense, and that's not the sole purpose of the object. So we can go ahead, add methods to that, and we have seen the method. I've accepted a string, I can do that. So this is good and all, but there is a better way of doing object oriented programming in JavaScript. So let me give you an object, because you have seen in my last example, I wasn't able to pretty much able to, extend the object. Some said no constructor, there's no constructor, you cannot create an object. So there is a limit. Uh, you know with this approach, I may stuck somewhere. So there are different kinds of with this approach, there is a challenge. What is it? Everything that I created is exposed to everything. Okay, I need to expose the ones I wanted to expose, and some things I don't want to expose, because if I'm creating an object, okay, I should have a choice that what others should do and what others should not do, or what others should be able to see and what should not be able to see. So, and also I should be able to, if I'm defining an object like this, okay, I should have a freedom to change it, like, you know whenever I want. I should have a freedom to change that. It's not something I defined and don't want to, you don't want, I don't want to change it or something, because we want to see that change. We want that allowed in real time. So having that in mind, so we have an object called class. To create, to write object oriented programming, we have an object called class. So the basic syntax of the class is like this: class, and you say my class, and you create a class like this, and your class is ready. We have created a class object. Okay, so you have heard a word called constructor for the first time in this session. A constructor, you've seen many times constructor. Constructor is what? Constructor is this. Okay, let me put a console log like this. Let me save this. So if I go back, see, just like an array, just like a string, this is another syntax, guys. So everything had variables. We're way past variables. Okay, we had functions. We had, now this, we have classes. There's nothing that I'm introducing anything. This is the basic syntax of class. Remember, this is the basic syntax of a class. And for the people who have already know a few things about Angular, or people who have already know a few things of React, they might have already figured out what it is and how is it looking. Okay, yes, you can do create classes in JavaScript. Nothing in React or nothing in Angular is actually from them itself. Nothing that is they don't have anything that does JavaScript does not have. It's a framework. So underneath, everything is again have to be converted to JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. So if you're building a website and if you're doing, and if you're accessing it in website, browser, what do these frameworks offer? Because they have to have HTML, CSS, JavaScript, whatever you write, they have to have this. So having said, this is the basic syntax of class. You have to have a class, keyword, a name, you have to open. You don't have to call this. You don't have to. This is a, so don't get confused. This is a class. Okay. This is, if even if it is class, this is again a function. This is a type of function. Remember, we have created a string, that is, its base is string object, but string object does have a base of object. So few properties added, it has become a string. Few properties added, it is become something else. It has become your string. Okay, now you changed your value and it is become your string. Okay, before that it was just string. Before that it was just an object. Just a second. So where I was coming from is, this is another object called class. Anything in your you can call everything as an object in JavaScript. You can, it's still valid, but since they have names, we refer by their names. So this is class object. Okay, that is again, as I said, just a function. What is this constructor? So why do we need objects? To create some more objects. Why do we need factory? To produce some object. Now I consider this class like I'm setting up a factory to generate something. So now if I do like this, now I have my class. So let me do that here. I have my class. Okay, I'm saying new, sorry, let child is equals to new my class. I can this by saying new, calling that class. Okay, this is the syntax that you generate a child out of your class. But you see what is happening here? When I created a class, the constructor was not active. Suddenly, when I am creating a child item out of the master class, okay, this is executing. See, randomly. I haven't said this to come, right? Where did I put this? I put this in the constructor. Okay. So what is this means? If you have a class, the constructor, if you have a class and if you are generating a child class, or if you are producing something with it, the first method that will execute at the time of instantiation, we are creating an instance of this class. So remember these words. This is class. I've wrote it here. I use the same class and creating an instance of that class. One instance, I'm cloning it. Okay, like Resident Evil movie, we have one object and one person, and there are many clones with the same traits. Okay, they have the same trends until they get that perfect devil out of that particular girl. They keep on creating and they keep on making movies. I think they have made around 5 series with that same subject. Okay, I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to do the same thing. So this is my base object. I'm actually creating an instance of that object. At the time of instantiation, the first method that we'll call is constructor. In some movies, they say when the first bell rings, you do that first bell. So you this is the class. Okay, when you are instantiating, this is the first method to execute. Why do I need some methods? Okay, if you are instantiating something and you need that, your child have, if I am a father, okay, my kids doesn't have exact same features like me. They have their own features. Maybe something will get inherited, like my behavior, my attitude, okay, my alter egos and everything, but they have certain things changing, right? So you have to set those separate things. You have to set those items, separately. You have to change it. They'll have some. Let's say this is a student class. Let me make it more understandable. Now we have a student class. We're good. Now I am is there a easy, okay, this is good. Okay, now I need a class. I need a student. I need a student object. Okay, what do I need? Let Suresh is new student. This is I'm just saying this is a constructor, but is there a difference? How do you figure out? So if I log Suresh, it is a student class. There's no way, there's nothing that differentiates Suresh from, so Suresh typically have to have a name. Okay, a parent class doesn't have to have a name. So now console.log, is this the correct way? I don't know. Let me, it's been ages that, okay, good. It's been ages I've used this thing. Yeah, good. So now I have a name property of student. Okay, and I'm accessing it in constructor. But if I'm creating Suresh, I should say to the student, okay, the student class, you create a student called Suresh. So you send in the name. Okay, Suresh Pillali, maybe something, whatever it is, or I'm creating just object out of the student. I'm sending it. Okay, and I'm not doing anything. So this value will be received by this guy. So if you let me log it, see, it'll get complex slowly. It'll become slowly complex. You have to pay attention. If something else going on, stop that and look at here, because past this I cannot come back and explain because it will get complex. So I'm saying whenever I say new student, the constructor is supposed to execute. I can send some data to the constructor, right? Yes. So I can send it like this. Whatever you pass in here, that will actually be accessible in the constructor. Once it is reached constructor, I can do anything with that. Name is equals to, see, this is a name that is coming from outside. This is a variable. This is a name that is on the object. So now if I console log Suresh, now this Suresh, not Suresh, this is now Jess. Okay. Now if I console log Jess, the student object of Jess instance have a name called Jess. Now I can generate as many classes as I want. Okay. Maybe I need Kanti or Karthik or whatever it is. So, and if I log these two things, see, student class and student class, Kranti. Okay. So Ganesh, why do I need objects? Can I simply say my, where Jess is equals to Jess, my Kranti is equals to none? For this, should we need objects? I'm getting there. Okay. So now I log this. Okay. Now what do we have? Jess and Kranti. Okay. Now let me go here. Okay. Accept. This is a name. That is a maybe. What do I else need? Maybe gender. Okay. I want this property to. On parent class, I want the gender to be empty by default. Whenever I'm instantiating, I am saying this dot gender is equals to the one that whoever is sending that, it will send. Okay. So if you don't send the value that constructor expecting, what happens? It will assign undefined because you created a variable, but if you haven't put any value inside, the value would be undefined. The same value is sending here. So I'll say maybe I may. Some gender and some gender. I'm sending a value. So now the value I sent is this. Maybe I want something meaningful. Occupation or citizen. This makes sense a lot. For the example that I want to give, citizen of this dot citizen. So Jess is from USA and is from India. Is a citizen of India and Jess is a citizen of. So my constructor is expecting you to send two variables. What is his name and where he is from. Now Jess is from USA and Kranti is from India. So I've created these two things. Okay. I have these two classes. Simple. Now let me go ahead and implement a method. Okay. Tell about yourself. I'm adding a method on this object for the first time. This is how you add your properties onto the object. I remember in the object, the objects are consists of properties and methods. So this is the basic syntax of creating properties, and this is the basic syntax of creating methods. So always look for that syntax. First step to understand any program is, yeah. Now I'm back. So now, why do we need classes is this. So now this method is, I created this method on the parent. Okay. I created this on my on the parent class, the main class, and I'm able to use that in all the classes that I'm generating out of this parent class. Okay. So this is the basic syntax of a class. This is how you can create a class. You can have some properties. This is your constructor. Your constructor is responsible to build the object that you want. Like if you are, creating a object, if you are generating a new object, okay. If you want the object to set, create that instance with certain settings, you send those settings to this constructor. That settings will be handled in this constructor, and so you can do that. You can call everything. You can access the entire object in here, the constructor itself. You can do whatever you want with the constructor. Okay. And as I said, you can generate a constructor. Okay. Now, everything that I created on the constructor is accessible, and it will do it. It is actually customizable to individual class, because if I'm generating a just class, that class giving me an information of Jess. If I'm generating, Kranti class, and this is giving me information about Kranti only, there's no conflict. So I'm sorry, my kid has stopped. So these two are different objects. Jess and Kranti are different objects, but they inherited from the same student class. They have the student properties. If a student, if Jess and Kranti are part of students, Skibble student, if he is a Skibble student, he will have all the privileges of, they both have the same privilege. They have same access to that one common channel. They have access to the material I produce. They have access to the classes I have. So they have all the access that a student should get. Okay, I can customize this. So basically, you can write your programming. You can write a program to produce as many objects as you want, but you are centralizing the behavior of that object from here. Okay, you keep this in you construct the object here, and you use many other times. Okay, can I change anything on the object? You can do that. So once Kranti is created, you can create on Kranti. You can certainly add some more attributes to Kranti like this. So tell occupation. So tell occupation is equals to my, I can put it. So it is, from then on, it is simply working with objects, some other variables or something like that. So now I'm saying I'm actually my occupation is maybe function return I am student. Okay, now let us clear this console. Now I added a method on Kranti, but if I wanted to access that on just dot, I say just dot tell occupation. This method is not present on Jess. It is not a function. It is not present, but on Kranti, oh my God. Let me log it here from thing. I think it's not accessible from console. Console.log. This is killed actually. So I have to. So here it is saying I'm a student. I think I have to often restart this. Okay. Kranti dot tell occupation is present, but just dot tell occupation is not a function because I created specifically on child object. If you are producing an object out of the parent object, the base object, okay, everything in here will inherently be there in class. Without a question, they will be there in the child for sure. But anything that is on the child, if that you have written, that will not be available on parent because it's one direction. It comes from top to bottom. So this is the bottom. Now, if I add some property here, that will be available in Kranti. If I add something on Kranti, that will not be available on student. Okay, now Ganesh, something my parent gave me something, a console dot log Kranti dot, there is a method called citizen of, and it is returning something. Citizen of is not a function. Tell yourself is a function. Okay, tell yourself is a method. Okay, just me. Okay, tell yourself is a method. uh my parent class told me to say it like this, but I don't want to be this formal. Okay, maybe let me put back the same thing with Jess. Okay, both are saying the same thing. Oh, I don't want to repeat the same thing as Jess said. I just want my own thing that you can do yourself. You can change that. You can replace that is coming from the parent. Okay, maybe Kranti is so adamant he doesn't want to share. Okay, now that same tell about yourself method that is inherently by the statement as I generated the student object. Okay, for Kranti, this method was actually returning something on Jess, but this Kranti guy actually went on different level and he simply shut the door of knowing himself, knowing, introducing himself and said, mind your business. And when I asked Kranti about tell about yourself, he simply said, mind your business. He replaced this property, this method from the parent with whatever he want. So that is also possible. You can replace anything on the child, but if anything that you replace on the child is not replacing on the parent, that is the reason you see, even if you change something on the Kranti, it is only limited to Kranti. That is in the local object. So you change on child, that change is only going to affect on the child, not the parent, and or anything that is generated with the parent class. That is the other rule. And if you want, so you return some code on the fly in real time. If you wanted to add anything, you can do that too. So when you say student dot prototype dot, assume that you are doing this prototype dot, what is your name, function underscore proto, same thing you can access here with prototype object. If I do this, return, call the tell about, okay, I'll say this is my name. Now I added something on the student. Okay, is it accessible on Kranti? See, I added a property on the prototype of what is your name. So after the class, if you wanted to change anything, okay, you can change it like this. So, or tell about yourself, I just wanted to change it to return my name. Okay, so like this, you can replace on the parent too. Somewhere in the program, okay, you defined in the class, somewhere in the program that has to behave differently. You have to change it entirely on all the classes that generated. You can replace it on the parent with this syntax. So you have to change it on the prototype. If you directly change it on the student, it will not affect the childs. If you wanted to change everything everywhere in the application, if you wanted to change the behavior of that method, you have to set student dot prototype dot that method and change that, replace that method with another function. Here you have some function. Here I'm replacing with some other function. Hope I am clear till here. Okay. Prototype. What is prototype? Prototype is an object. Maybe there's no need to draw or something because we have the objects right here. Okay. Prototype will maintain the relation to its parent. Simply, the prototype object of any class contains the relationship class, the relationship between its parent. The connection between, prototype is the connection between the parent and child. And it is not just between the parent and child. It will contain the entire chain of the mutation. So one class mutated into child class, that child class can be mutated into another child class. So it will goes on like that, and you'll have that prototype in every object that is generated out of the, every class that is instantiated. A prototype object is present on the classes, on the particular method, on the particular object to refer the parent object. So just know parent object. So why this prototype present? So if you are just focus here. Okay. Now here is one tell yourself method. Here is a different way of implementation. Here is a different way of implementation. But every implementation is doing its your own job, doing its job. Now this was hi, I am Jess and I am from US. So this was the original format. Later I changed it to just to tell the name, not to reveal about citizenship. And then when I call just dot tell about yourself, just method, just object, just said only the name. Okay, instead of returning the citizenship also, I replaced it here. So it is saying just name. Kranti is also saying here in this class, it's saying mind your business. So that means first, if on a child class, if you're trying to access the value, first the compiler checks if this value is present on the child object. First thing, first element, check if it is present on the child object. The child, it is not part of child object. Then go to the prototype. Okay, two objects. Let me expand Kranti. Let me expand this. See, on Kranti, tell yourself is present on Kranti object itself, but not on the Jess, because I've modified the Kranti object intentionally at line number 33. Since I modified it here, it moved that method from, it is also on the parent element, student class also we have delivers yourself. Here it is. But if it is present on the child object, it will only call the child object one. It will not move to the parent object. If Jess object does not have the tell yourself, it will go to the parent object and it will access this method, and whatever this method has, it will do that. So if it is present on the child, it will only do that operation on the child. If it is not present on the child, it will find it in the parent. To find that parent, how will it know that there is a parent? If there is a prototype object exists, it will try to find the same method on the prototype object. If it is there, it will execute. If it is not, it will say it is not a function. Good. Let's try to understand the scenario like this. I'm saying console.log just dot do something. And I called it. Okay. Do something is not do something. Now it is saying an error. Do something is not a function. Why it is not a function? And let me tell you that. First, do something. Is it part of student? No, it is not part of student. So that means So just doesn't have a method called do something. Good. Let's go and search it on the parent class. Is it part of parent? No, it is not part of parent. Then clearly this is not defined anywhere. Throw in an error. Let this bugger do whatever he wants to do, but I don't find the name. Okay. If I do have something like this, if I do have something like this, yes, I am doing something. Okay. Now, where is this error coming from? Okay, I have to return it. Sorry. Should never use console log. Return it. Console is not a function. HTML 33. Okay, sans. My bad. Okay. Now I am doing, yes, I am doing something. Now it found, okay. It searched for do something. Do something is not present on just, but it is present on the parent. Now it is here. Now if I remove this, that is an error. Do something is not a function. So the search is failed. So anything in the JavaScript, if you are accessing some value on a particular value, it will first look in that value. If in the object, if it is present, if it is not present, then it will move to a bit. It will go into the prototype and find in the parent if it is present. No, then move it there, move it there. Like that, it will search an entire hierarchy. Yeah, overrides. Yes, you can override this. This is concept called override. You can override the parent methods in the chain. Yes, thanks for that, Karthik. So I just wanted to be keep this not too many jargons in one session. Yes, you can override the parent class on the child, and you can extend. So this is instantiating. So there is another concept called public and private. Let me explain that. Okay, why do I need public? So if you see, okay, these two images. Okay, I want someone to come on, unmute themselves. Wait, sorry. He's playing hide and seek with himself. Okay. Now, so if you look at this is something, there are many components in a coffee maker. Okay. If you see, there's a lot of components in a coffee maker, but you don't have to, the user doesn't have to interact with a lot of other components. If he's, what happens? This is not a usable project with a proper holding, and we should not allow him to touch the inner component. What happens? They may be hot, they may screw up some machinery, they may try to adjust something. There are many things can happen, because you don't have to give too much control to the user. You have to wrap everything, and you should say, okay, you only use this knob. Okay, you only use this knob. This is your, I'm giving it to you to use, but whatever inside, there are a lot of other settings inside. I just want them to keep private. I don't want you to use it. So I build a container. Okay, I build some body, and on body, whatever is up to the public, I'm giving it to the public. Whatever is not for the public, I'm keeping it private inside the body. Same thing applies here. Guys, don't confuse. Everything I'm talking here is actually a replica of a real time. I mean, in real time, whatever you do is the same thing that we are doing with these objects. So everything is private. Okay, whatever is private, I don't want them to be exposed. That is inaccessible in the book. Whatever is public is accessible with that. We can do that too. Okay, if you create a method here that is publicly accessible, okay, a method, a variable called like this, I mean, I can say public, okay, private or something, or anything that I created with this. Let to the scope, I say, let my age is private. Okay, maybe my age is private, I don't want to expose that. Okay, just want, maybe I'm sending age. Okay, initially it is 0. Just a moment. Just a moment. 1 second. I have to open the door. There are a lot of breaks today. Just bear with me. Okay, I'm back. So we want keep something, some methods, private, and some of the things out of habit. I was typing private up at the. Sorry, just a second. So we can keep something private, like whatever, like this. Like if I created something like, let work is equals to some work. Okay. And something that you created here is not really accessible here. So that is not accessible. You have name, which is accessible. You have age, citizenship, which is accessible, but you don't have access to these private variables. So whatever is you said this dot, okay, whatever if you want something to accessible, you will use this dot name. Whatever you did not, something that you haven't created with this syntax, that is not publicly accessible. Okay, anything that you create like this, that will state. So this is difference. And there is another concept called closures in your classes. What is a closure? A function that is only enclosed in a method or a class, that is a closure. So I can write a function here, okay, to do some operation like this, okay, and this can have some return statement, okay. Log, what is, okay. So this is not really accessible to outside. So if I'm saying that, maybe I should say like this: function get work, and this get work is returning something. Now I use this get work let me comment out all these things. So simply we can focus on whatever we are learning. Let's focus. Do something is a operation. The something, this is a method, okay, this is also a method or a function that I have in other methods. So these methods can have another function inside of it. This is called closure. The closures are not accessible like this. So you cannot say Kranti dot do something dot get work is not accessible for you. It will straight away give, is not a function. So that means even if you have something, okay, this is only accessible to this class, this method. So this is a called closure. So you cannot, so you can have, so everything of a one particular function or one particular operation cannot be done in one block. You have to again split it, like you might have to split it again further. So you can split it and you can reuse the same method many times, as many times as you want. So that is the purpose closures are created. Okay, so something you don't want, something that you have declared inside your methods or objects or anywhere in the block, something you did not set this dot, okay, that is not accessible. That is not accessible. Something you set this dot, okay, you created on the scope of that object, scope of that class is public, and you will be able to access it outside. And if we are good with this subject, if we understood this, I will move on to the next subject of extending a particular class. Any questions so far? You may feel like you understood everything. Do you have any dilemmas, anything that you want me to explain again? So what is the overall mood, guys? I do you want me to unmute you, everybody or anybody? Yes, Karthik.
Yeah, nice. Until it's okay.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, fine. That's good to hear. At least if it is not worse, that's fine.
Yeah, if you are practicing it, it will be more easier.
Yeah, it's not. Don't think about the purpose of this at this point of time. Okay, try to understand this. Purpose will come to you. Okay, so many other times, what happens, like, how do I use this in real time? Is the first question, and why do I need it is the first question, maybe. So don't ask this question for this for this right now. You will understand in further in your if we move ahead with Node.js, Angular, and something. Okay, you might practice this concept in here in this session or in this week or next week. You will see this not usable. You might see, to generate some elements, why do I need this? You might think all these kind of things. So don't think like that. Okay, understand the way it is, how it work. Just have a mind map of this particular object. Even that helps. Okay, you create a object, parent object. You generate a child. Everything on the parent will be inherited to the child. Anything that you change on the child will not go to the parent. Anything that is only private to the child, you can do it like that. You can do it like this. Okay, we talked about any method that is private to this parent is called closure. Okay, a parent can have public properties, public methods. A parent can have private, properties or private values or private methods. Okay, private methods are closures. Private properties are like simply private. Okay, so you want to expose something, you don't want to expose something. So those are all the things that we have discussed. So we called, if we instantiated a class to the child, we have prototypal inheritance. That is, if I'm accessing some value in the child, it will first look in the child. If it is not found, it will reach to the prototypal inheritance object, and then it will go to the parent object. If it is there, it is inherently child's. So if it is on the parent, it is on the child also. That means it is true. So if you are accessing on the child, it will become the child's property unless you change it on the parent. So if you change some value on the parent, it will also change on the child. So that's the things that we have learned so far. So sometimes we see students that are international. Okay, many other times Kranti is not defined. No, not defined. Okay, let me comment this out. So there are usual students, some are sometimes international students. I don't know if that is present in India, but usually when there is a summer camp or something, okay, he's a student of summer camp. Okay, he's not a casual student. He's a summer camp student of the same school. If the same school opened a summer camp, is so I just wanted to create another class. I don't want treat him as, so I don't want to treat this guy as a regular student, I say, but I just want all the privileges of student to this guy as well. So I'll say summer camp student extends students. Constructor. Okay, so if you extend it like this, so I'm creating a student. So now let me create a summer camp. Okay, where Nichita is a summer student. Now new student, let me log Nichita. Did I created citizenship? Did I created name on summer camp? No, I haven't created. But I said extend student. The moment I put this, it is without this, it is a normal class. It is a normal class. It has its pretty old things. Okay. Now, if I put extends everything, so this is not a child again, guys. Till now we have seen childs. Now this is a extended class. That means I want everything of this student properties to be present on here, but I want the type of the student to summer. I just want to apply that. So now if you see, I have name, citizenship of, everything again on this guy. Simply every property that student had actually available here. So, okay, why it is missing? Citizenship and name is missing because you haven't sent that. Okay, so Nishchita, you have to send, you have to treat it as, since you have extended the student class, you have to treat it as same thing like you generated, right? Maybe Nichita from Canada. Still undefined. I sent this. What happened? Okay, you have to access here. And you have to send it. The super is the method. This will execute this constructor. Okay. If you call super, sending, you are sending. So summer camp constructor is this. Okay. And if I call super, this constructor will also execute. Okay. Now let us see Nichita. See, summer camp is a student. Nichita is a class, that is type of summer camp. Summer camp is a class of this, and this is extended class of student. See, hierarchy again. So I'm using the student class. I'm extending all the properties from student class and creating a summer student. And now Nichita is a summer student. Now Nichita does have all the methods. Tell about yourself. Hi Nichita, I'm from Canada. That was here. And that is not here. I said extend students. So to all the student properties are now extended to here. To call the constructor here to perform this operation, you have to call super and you have to send the values. Now you can send the age too. Okay, if you want, you can send the age too. So you accept the age, or you say 200 and you can send it here. Nichta. Age, I haven't used age. Okay. I added it here. If I log Nichita, again, I have age. So I'm doing the operation on student, everything getting extended to summer student, summer camp student as well. And if I generate Nichita out of summer camp object, that is also having same thing. So this is how you can extend. You can, you don't have to do, why do I need this here? Just see, you are getting lot of reusability. Okay. You're not writing something again. See, if you want a student camp, you ought to have to write everything again, right? Same thing. This was you're supposed to do. Okay. This was supposed to be happen. Okay. Now I am able to receive it. So everything, if this is a student object, summer camp student is also the same kind of student. To build an object like this, you have to recreate everything. So why do I have to create everything like this? Because I have most of the functionality in student. So don't do that then. I don't want to do this thing. Everything here should extend here. Simple. Whatever is a special privileges for this guy, give that special privilege. He might need dormitories. Okay. You have to put a dormitories value in this guy. Okay. That is not going to affect the student. And now there's lot less code. You see, lot less code. You are not writing, you are not repeating yourself. In the CSS, SCSS also, you have realized the same thing. You are repeating yourself a lot. And then SCSS came in. You are not at all repeating. You are writing something. You are saying just ng4 and you are repeating many things with one line. Okay. And the same thing happening here, reusability. The purpose of this is to promote the reusability. Yeah, Jess, you raise your hand.
Oh, yeah, just under the constructor for the summer camp student, why is it 200 and not age again?
Oh my God.
Super,
Sorry.
is it?
I think that's my mistake.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if that was something.
No. That was
then you
my.
wrote it again when you get the, okay.
That
okay.
is purely my mistake. I have to send whatever I received. I was kind of sending. That's
okay.
That's a typo. Thank you, Jess, for spotting that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we have 9 people. I'm wondering, last time we only have, okay, done. It's good that we have 9. Okay, extents is one such one another important aspect that you want to know. And we have 48 more minutes. What did I had for this today's session? We talked about prototype, we talked about class syntax, we talked about promises and chaining. I know you are already overwhelmed. And if I talk about promises and error handling and try catch blocks, so do you want me to go through now, or do you want to sleep on it and then take the next subject? I'm just curious. Like, I can cover it in 40 minutes left, whatever it is. I can talk about these things, but I really want you to digest this one concept. I don't want to rush through the things. Okay. Static properties methods I have covered. Private protected methods I have covered. Extending classes we have covered. We have only covered till this, guys. We have these things. I think I can cover DOM, but I don't want to go over promises because this is something that makes a lot of sense if we understand Ajax. Ajax is one more other thing that I wanted to talk. Before this, Want to talk about Ajax. Once the Ajax is completed, I'll talk about these things, and I can explain this now. Yeah. Okay. Let me create a new file. To do is the best example I always prefer to teach something. Okay. UL li so what I'm going to do now is I build this to do application using with object oriented programming. Then you will understand why do I need object oriented programming. Okay, you see now. UL ID, not exactly it's not the traditional way that I'm going to do, but it will give you that understanding. That's why reason I'm saying to do's. Okay, body dot onload dot app. So let me add a script file. I'll just add it in app.js, app.js right below. Close this, link this guy, script src app.js. Save function. Start app, console.log app. I want the console to be bottom because now, okay, app is started. So that means this is fine. Okay, I want the container let to do container. First, see, this is a better way, guys, because first you declare a variable, don't assign anything in that. Once the app is loaded and app is started, then you say to do container is equals to document dot query selector hash. Now if I log this, see, first create a variable so that if it is outside, I can use it anywhere I want in the code. Okay. Second, once the app is started, then only I want to select, because if before the app starts, I'm executing this code, I might not find this UL. So I'm only selecting that, I'm trying to select the item after the app starts. From now on, use this strategy. So now, once the app is started, I'm going to find that element and storing that to-do container. I am able to access it here or here. So here it is not accessible because it is executing right before this is executing. So on app start, I have this. Now I want input. I'll try to close it on sharp 10 o'clock, but if not, there's no question of if not, I will finish it. Type is equals to text. Okay. And ID is equals to do item, new to do. I'll cut the corners. Just a button. Add to do. Okay. I want you guys to be active. If you are not active, just move around, shake your hand like this, do it, just let the blood flow. Don't sit idle. If you are not on video, I can also see. So just move a little. Okay. Okay. Do like this, let the blood flow and active. Now, what is the goal of the application? What is the production of this application? What are we going to produce in the application? Anyone? What are we going to do with this application? This is add to do. This is to do application. What will be in to do application?
Adding tasks and removing tasks.
Yes. We intend to manage one data set, that is to do, right? We intend to manage one data set, that is to do. So the object that we should work with is what? To do, right? Agree? Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Now, let me create a class. Usually we don't create everything in one file. Okay. You are supposed to init app in one file, and so let me do that. But instead of it's better. It is a good practice to preach todo.js. I created todo.js. I have so less space here. So what do? Edit script.src todo.js. So to verify that it is coming is the attached, I'll put a log and say from todo. From todo coming. That means this file is attached. Now in todo, I will create a class todo. Okay. Fair enough. I created a class to do. What will a to do will have? Okay. Text. A to do will have a text. A to do. What will a to do will have? Status. Okay.
Fine.
First, it will have done status, or maybe it is either it is not done or it is done. That's it. There's no between status. So first when we add it, the status will be not done, because if I'm adding it, I'm expecting that it is not done. That means the initial state will be, so I'm talking about initial state. Initial state, it will be empty, and the done state, it is false. Very good. What else we have? Text, we should have my to do object. So this is how you should brainstorm your application in object oriented programming. That when I'm speaking everything, everything out loud in my mind. So I'm not keeping anything in the mind. I'm just speaking to outside. So this is what the item that I will work throughout this application to do. My to do will have a text. My to do will have a state, that is done false, done either it will have new, it is done. There's no between state, half done or in progress, or there's nothing. If it is there, I will add, but it is not there. So now I need a constructor. Okay. Because with this class only, I need to construct many classes. Okay. What do I get? If I'm creating a new to do, what do I get from outdo? So what is the differentiation between each to do? The text itself, because one to do will have a work text for going to temple or a church. One to do will have a will describe about going to school. One to do will say complete your homework, or anything that can be there. So the uniqueness that I'm going to get is always about the text. So once I receive the text, I will set that this dot text is equals to text. This text, I'm going to get it from outside. Whenever I'm creating a new text, I am going to send a new text Now that you need to set it to the disk.text, that means the new object will have the text. Okay, fine. So now when I start this application, now I need to add a click, right? On click. On click, save to do. This is a method. Okay. Function save to do. Okay. I just want to verify if this to do is loading, like am I accessing the to do class in this file? There are two files, right? So I have attached two files. I just wanted to verify if I'm able to access the to do class that I've created. Okay. So if I click this button, yeah, I'm able to access the to do object that is another file. Guys, don't get confused. Maybe if you haven't attached only one file till this point, but you can attach 100 different files like this. Okay. If you don't know, if you are just realized, don't get confused. You can write 100 different files, and each file will be able to access something that is in other file, because whatever is outside, just created on outside, you are creating everything on the window. See here. Apart from window object will contain see, everything that you have written here or here are all part of window object. So window is also an object, guys. So everything in JavaScript is simply an object. Window is also an object. So even if you're writing something in different files, they are being created in the global scope that is on the window. So I'm accessible something that written here. Okay. So now I say new to do. Okay. I have to get this value, right? This text ID, new to do. Okay. Where, sorry, let to do text as equals. I'm not doing anything fancy, guys. Just a simple old thing. Document dot query selector. Selector ID. This is the ID for the text input. Okay. Saving. I need to send this, right? Because my new to do expects text. If I'm creating a new to do, see, if I'm creating a new to do, this is expecting text. So if I'm creating a new to do, this is also expecting text. Okay. Where new to do. Console.log new to do. To do object. Okay. But I haven't put send anything. Oh, my bad. I should send a value, not the element itself. I should take the value and then send it. Okay. Hey, Karthik, sorry. You dropped and joined and I haven't accepted. See, is this creating new items every time? So I'm not doing anything fancy, guys. I've created a class here, like a student class. This is a student name, some properties, and for the constructor, I'm sending text and I'm creating. So if you are confusing, I'll keep it here. Okay. Is this fair? how to save this. Okay. Here, like this you want, or like this you want. This will have more organizing, guys. This will be more organizing, like everything here, everything here. You will see, easy. It will be easy going on us.
I think it will be easy in the actual working environment, not a study type. I think it's good to have it in one place. For now,
Where do you want me to keep it here or in the app or to do?
in the app.
Okay, I'll do it here. Then no problem. Okay, like container, I created a class like this. Okay, this is my initial app. Okay, so I'll not even do that, guys. I'll not initial app, start app. So I'll keep it very plain and simple. Plain and simple. Nothing fancy. I'll keep it plain and simple. Okay, I'll remove to do. Okay, now, yeah, no issues. See, till now, like you are doing kind of how a kid plays with HTML. Now, this is how a pro plays with HTML. This is how a pro development happens on HTML. So it's a pro mode. So you get to see that perk. So see, no problem. Let's combine that little bit. Let's be a little bit pros and a little bit beginners. Okay, that's also not a problem. So I'm going back. Okay, to do container. This is not something for new to us. I just selected this one because I want to add something in this. So I selected here. Okay, like I explained in the student class, I have this to do class. Every time a text comes, that will generate a new to do. Okay, see, if I am saving it, I'm just console logging. I'm not doing anything right now. This particular has thing as new thing. Okay, good. అయిపోయింది కదా. This one is done. So I'm getting a new to do whenever I want. Oh my God. Wait, when do you add here, buddy? When do you want here? That's met the question. Okay. So usually we do it like this here. Okay. To do container. To do container. Inner HTML is equals to okay, like this. This was the original implementation. Isn't it, guys? Isn't it? This was the original style of doing. So let us stop this doing. Okay. Let us do it in object. Can we do that? Yes, we can do that. Okay. Now you send me container. Okay. You send me the container. So I'll say container because each object should know the container. This dot container is equals to container. Okay. You don't have to create anything here also. Okay. But if you want this dot done is equals to false, you can generate like this also. I can even simply make it. Okay. Container. Okay. I'm creating new text. So I haven't logged this guy. Okay. Good. Text is equals to text. So first to text and then container. So I messed up with the parameters. First to text, it will go to text. Second container, it will go to container. Okay. I'm sending text first, then the container. To the element also I'm sending. Okay. Now, if I say Oh, no. This one I should say. And this is the container, right? Okay, now my class has a reference. The new instance is has a reference to this. This is also good. Nice. Now on the constructor, add to view. This dot container dot append child. Sorry. See, this is a big leap. The next step is you have to carefully observe. So once the container is created, the next thing that you should do, add it to the view. So now I added a method on the object. I say add to view. On the constructor, I called the same method. That means whenever I'm generating a new object out of to do, this will execute all these lines. Let us test that. So it is adding it to the view. It is trying to adding it to the view. Now to add it in the view, I can do it here. I have text. See, I know what to do because I have text. I know where to add this text. I have container. All I have to do is generate an li and append it to this simply. Okay. How do you generate an li? Where let new lm. This is a private property. New lm is equals to document dot create element. You can create a li element. Okay, you have to supply the tag type. What is the tag type? This is the tag type. What do you want me to generate? Li. I want to create an element and store it in new element, li element. And this li element should have inner HTML of this dot text. Okay. I have an li element created. Then what do you want me to do? This dot, there is a container append child to that. Okay. Now I'm removing it. So confusing. I know minds have been blown out. Let's expand this. Let's understand. The logic is very simple. Very simple. Here, after click save to do, add to do is clicked. Okay. Once this is clicked, this is coming here and selecting the value. Step number 1. This value is being sent to do. And along with that, I'm sending the to do container. That is this element, the UL element. The first instance is being created. We said new Jess object is created. We said new Kranti. We said new Kranti object is created. Same way, we're creating a new to do. So it is taking text. It is storing this process. Everything is storing. Here it is storing on the same object, just storing happening. Just each object it will store, right? There we stored name, we stored citizenship. Same like that, we are storing a container and a state. Okay. Now after storing that, I'm saying add it to the view. Okay. Now you created the item. You have instantiated a class. You have created an item, but you have to complete the cycle. You need to add it to the HTML. Okay. You need to do one more step. So I'm calling the first method. If it is creating for the first time, you call this function. If I call some function, what happens by default in JavaScript? It will call that. Now I called, and then what I did, I created an element called new li document.create element will create a new element. You will see if I execute this line here, it will give me an li, new empty li method. So this is simply, instead of putting a string, instead of inner HTML, other things, this is a very better way of doing it. Create a dynamic element. Okay, once this element is created, you can do like this. Dot inner HTML is equals to, okay, so I'm doing it new LM. I'm just explaining it again here, is equals to, I'm sorry, document.create.element. So this step I'm explaining. Now I have app.js and todo.js. Now if I add it, it's adding it here. Okay, now I can extend this class. Or I can set this. So I can do this. I want to do that. No. New LM is equals to null. Now I can create it. So now mark as done. Okay. So now this is a method. Okay. New LM. This dot new LM dot style dot text decoration, right? Otherwise, I'll change the color simply. Let me do, right after creating that, let me check if I can do that. Mark as done. Okay. There is an error. Let me do that. Let me see what is happening. New element is not defined. Okay, new element is this dot new element. I created on parent level so that I can access this in all the methods. This dot new element. Now, new element is not defined. Where it is? Okay, sorry. Everywhere I should say this dot new element. I changed that syntax. See, it is changing the color also, because if I don't call this, so now text to decoration. Line through. Is it correct? Yeah, that is correct. I can also say color is equals to green. Good. So I can create another element in the add view like this. I know we don't want to mark it as done as soon as it is created, right? It has to be created. It has to be created as a new item. So I don't want to call it here. So when this has to mark done has to be called when, there should be a button beside it called done. If I click that, that should mark done. So I need to create that element. Okay, where mark done is equals to document dot create element. I'm creating a button marked on btn button dot button or input, maybe input type button, so many things. So it's okay. Inner HTML is equals to mark, then otherwise done. I created that element. I need to assign that element inside the new element. Okay, I should do it. This dot new element dot append. To add a element to that element, I should call append child and mark done button. The button is coming up. With these two lines, I created a button. This button should be on the new element, not on container. So I added a new element and then I added the new element on the container. 3 steps. Now, before I added the mark done to push, on click is equals to this dot mark done. Okay. Cannot read the properties of style. Okay, here this becomes the button, because if I am creating a function, I'm calling inside a click, that this scope is no longer this, that this scope is button. So this is not possible to call. So I can do this. Put a function. I know this dot. Now this scope is changed. Mark done. Will I be able to access it? Yes. See, everything is in one class. And I'm just creating a class and everything happening from that class itself. So everything related to to-do is in here. Not scattered all over the place. I'm just saying new to-do. That's it. And you can have all the references here. The newly created elements. We are way past the time. I just want you guys to, can you guys complete this with the same reference?
Yeah, we will try to reconstruct our 2D app in this manner.
See, this is not the exact way it's supposed to be. I'm just cutting a lot of corners so that you can figure out what's happening. So that's one thing for sure. Okay.